Governance. And the chairman of Mobile Software Solutions, Dr. Chris Uwaje, joins me now in the studio. There you have his biodata, chairman, Mobile Software Solutions, an expert in software design and engineering solutions, IT personality of the year 2008, and a former president of, or he's a vice president. First vice president.
Past president.
Okay, past president of the Institute of Software Practitioners of Nigeria. Yes. Dr. Uwaje, good morning, and thank you so much for joining us on the show this morning. Interesting.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here, really.
Now, let's start with your thoughts on the role of ICT in the conduct of the 2015 elections.
Thank you. Indeed, I think there's one seeming misconception, but within that context, I'd like, first of all, to congratulate INEC and Professor Jega for delivering what we probably will call the first free and fair election in Nigeria. A lot of people have said, God has done it. And I support that. God has done it for Nigeria with technology. Without technology, it will have been really the real thing that have been predicted. Now, when you look at it, technology has been at the center of gravity of Nigerian electoral process since about 4 years ago. If you mine the data on the internet about what 80 million Nigerian youths are saying 4 years ago, that is exactly what happened in 2015. Now
let's be specific, more specific about which aspect of the social media we're talking about. Yeah. We're talking about Facebook, we're talking about Twitter, we've got so many other ones now, we've got Instagram and the rest of it. So which one in particular are we seeing an incursion of these numbers?
Right. When you look at the internet, internet is an interconnectivity of multimedia interfaces, and that's what we call the internet. Everybody converges on the internet. It's like all Nigerian homes converging in Nigeria, as it were, within the geographical entity. So they are interlinked. What you have on Facebook, you have a thread that is going to Google. You have a thread that is going to Instagram. You have a thread that is going to WhatsApp. All these guys are interlinked. If you go to a shopping center now and log in your credit card, I can say Harriet was in a shopping mall in the Palms, and I know that is the geographical entity because Google can map you, all right? And I will say, oh, you bought XYZ. These are the thread on the internet, so I have your data, and this data shows that you cannot hide from me anymore. And that's what is happening in Nigeria. The database of Nigerians is what is really enduring the change. That has made the change. The pathetic aspect is that within that technology interface, the role of professionals are missing. And I'll tell you why. Because it is the medical doctor who knows how to use the surgical knife. You can't give a surgical knife to a non-medical personality. Of course, they bastardize the patient. So what we are saying is that professionals did not accredit most of these technological processes that were in place. Even if they have been won.
So now we have another elections in less than a couple of days. How can this be improved on? Or is it too late?
No, ideally, I think it's not too late if you call on the professional group to come and be an observer, just like you call the European Union to come and be observer of your election. Let the professional experts be consulted and called upon to observe the use of technology in the electoral process. It is as simple as that. And indeed, it will help INEC because at the post-election tribunals, those who are going to give evidence that are credible can only be professionals who are the friends of the court at that momentum. Because the process of technology was involved intensively in ensuring a credible election. So I can imagine a nurse coming to give evidence at the tribunal and saying, oh, the software, the database, the bytes and the attributes, embedded systems, firmware are XYZ that resulted to the election. I can't see that happening.
Now, so if we don't do this at this time, if we don't learn this going forward now in trying to learn the lessons, if we don't get it right for the Saturday elections, how can information technology improve future elections, and how can the professionals from this sector become more involved?
Good, thank you. In the first place, let's view, taking from what Bismarck said last week, view the General Buhari, President-elect, as a CEO to 180 million Nigerians as a corporate entity. We are saying that a CEO who has to manage 180 million citizens cannot do that effectively without technology. Technology should be at the center of that management. It is impossible for Buhari to deliver the promises and dividend of democracy without technology and without information technology specialists at the center, be it for education, be it for governance, be it for entertainment, be it for job creation, indeed, be it for national security. Even within the Boko Haram insurgents, professional IT people have a significant role to play, and they must be brought to the table. And we've been saying there's a lot that is happening within the processes of governance. You see that the legislature, the judiciary, and the executive are intertwined with information. But indeed, we are buying computers, we are not automating government. Electronic governance is what really the world is talking about. That is what leads to innovation. That is what leads to businesses. That's what drives your economy. It's not just about selling oil and receiving dollar. No, you're talking about how you can prime knowledge, the quantum of knowledge that Nigerian has, how you can prime them into innovation and creativity, how you can turn them into an export ware than just importing and consuming, which we are presently, be it in the telecom sector. 99% of what we consume are just imported. But whereas in IT, you have a time where you can harness all the knowledges that are around to be able to turn them into a knowledge ware that is exportable through outsourcing, through data center creation, and of course through knowledge parks that are being created. Currently, Nigeria does not have one knowledge park compared to India that has 43 knowledge parks. But
then, Dr. Uwaje, you're the former president of ISPON. Yes. So, in terms of looking at an association like that and looking at what you've enumerated now, how can an association like that help to, have such a bank that we don't necessarily always have to import what we need from overseas?
Thank you very much. We have started, that's the Institute of Software Practitioners of Nigeria, in collaboration with the Nigerian Computer Society, in adherence to the existing laws and norm of Act 49 of 1993 by CPN as a professional. What we have done is that we have established 30 software development clubs in Nigerian tertiary institutions and universities. And we have gone on our way with the support of Senator Lea Imoke of Cross River State to establish the first national software conference and competition that's been running for 4 years. Regrettably, software competition global has been running for more than 50 years. Nigeria has not participated. It is really a source of embarrassment. And what we are saying is that moving forward, we have more than 80,000 Nigerian computer science students who pass through our institutions. Where are they going to work if professionals are not involved? Where are they going to work if you don't have a litmus package to be able to jumpstart the IT profession in Nigeria? I think those are some of the critical aspects, and we have demanded over time to ensure that we have a knowledge city. The first one is emerging in Tinapa, in Calabar, where, of course, Governor Lea Imoke has put in all his best to make sure that we have a jumpstart. Mrs. Dr. Mbala Johnson has been also be able to create the idea as an incubator to ensure that the startup companies can come about. But we are saying that these are more or less a matchbox vision, going with what is happening in other countries. I'll give you just small statistics and example. I'm just back from Hanoi, in Vietnam. Hanoi, with 7.1 million people, has 103 universities. Vietnam has 317 universities. And you're looking at Mexico has over 3,000 universities. Nigeria has 129 universities as we speak, with 180 million people. You could see that our vision has really been more or less suppressed. And you asked about the internet. The internet has become the instrument that has enabled those 80 million Nigerian youths to make up their minds. Even when we were voting, text messages were flying. It has become become the real tool and center of gravity that has surprised a lot of people.
So how can it now be used, to enhance e-governance, as you've rightly pointed out?
The most important aspect of e-governance is creating a national database. To create a national database, you need to capture from birth to death. And that is where you can start to do nation building. Without that, we're just wasting our time. Even when we say in rural areas, yes, the midwives do take care of births without registration. We agree. You create an incentive. You create a midwife association and registered midwife in the traditional norm. And you give incentives if you register your child when we have a birth in the rural area. You get milk, you get this, and you get money. Government can do that because we have the web to capture the data, because you need to nurture this guy onto, from birth to death, for education, for sustainability, even for fighting wars. You must know your citizens. A father does not know how many children he has, or a family that does not know how many children they have, cannot defend the family, cannot account, for the wealth creation of the family. So it is about data, it is about technology, and information technology is the core attribute. Not telecoms. Telecoms is a subset. You consume the cell phone. And let's look at, we're talking about card reader. The first ballot casting in the world was done in 139 BC in Rome, and 1629 in the US for paper balloting. Ballot means balls. Create a ball in basket so you are voting. But today we have the technology. We are not asking about the software that makes it enable, the database, the embedded system. I've read and mined the internet, and Nigerians talking about card reader. I used card reader in 1972 in Germany. The card reader is a tool that authenticates and, of course, makes sure that the accreditation of this thing is based. So we must move forward using technology and using the professionals. And that's the key word. And e-government, you must create the office of the Information Technology Officer of the Federation, just like we have Accountant General of the Federation and Attorney General of the Federation, because the 21st century demands that. We must be able to automate governance. That database of circulars and memos in government must be automated, not just put in the computer that is not talking to each other.
Dr. Uwaje,
thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me on the program and sharing your perspectives with us.
It's my pleasure.